So, nice to see you. I'm Graham Martin, I'm the Recruitment Guy. Today I want to talk to you about how to write a really great CV. Now, my understanding of a CV is probably like most people's. It's a way of communicating to people about us. It's our advert, it's what we use to sell ourselves. And yet, having been in recruitment now for nearly 25 years and seen perhaps on a daily basis 50 CVs every single day for nearly 25 years, there's some fundamental challenges that people don't address that would make their CV stand out. So what I'm going to try and do is give you my top tips, and then if you've got any quick questions you can ask me, and we'll address that at the end of it. So the first thing I would suggest is that don't use the word curriculum vitae. It's Latin, it's old-fashioned, just call it a CV, okay? And if you're going to actually produce a physical CV, produce it on white paper. Don't use anything coloured, nothing fancy, just plain white paper. And also, in terms of the fonts, use a font which is clear and crisp. Times, Roman numerals, any of the basic fonts you find. What I see so often is that people that have been to on a design course, or maybe they're a media student, they'll use lots of fancy fonts. They'll use lots of fancy borders, they'll use bullet points. They'll try and promote how clever they are in terms of art and design on the CV. Well, the challenge with that is that the person that's reading it just wants to be able to get the basic information, and they're distracted and frustrated when they're seeing it in a very unusual format. So just use one font style. You can use bullet points, of course, but where appropriate. Now, it's very popular at the moment in Eastern Europe to put your photograph on your CV, and I would suggest that you don't do it, okay? And I think it's fair to say that despite the fact that this country has gone very, very far forward in terms of not being discriminatory, we don't wish to give anybody that's reading the CV any reasons not to talk to us. Because let's face it, if I put my photograph on the CV, they're not going to ring. So I would suggest that just to make it a level playing field, don't put your photograph. Now, the big bugbear for me is this opening paragraph. Now, in our office, I have to say, when it's lunchtime or we've got a few 5 minutes spare, we sit around and we say, have you seen this one? People write a load of rubbish in their opening paragraph. And recently, LinkedIn did a survey about the top 10 cliches that people use in their LinkedIn profile. Now, LinkedIn, of course, is allegedly for professional people trying to network. Now, if they can't get it right, what help is there for the rest of us? So please think about your opening paragraph as a way of shouting loud who you are, what you've done, what you're looking for, and what you can do for a company. If you go to the cinema, before the main event, we see the trailers, don't we? The trailers for the forthcoming movies. Now, my understanding is that something like 50% of the budget, marketing budget, of a blockbuster movie is spent on that trailer. So you've got to spend a lot of time thinking about that opening paragraph of 4 sentences. Please think about it from the HR manager's point of view, or the employer, or the director that's reading it. He or she may have 50 CVs in front of them. They may not be physical CVs, they're invariably on an email. They're probably just going to read the first 4 lines and either decide, definitely yes, maybe, or definitely no. And I can tell you from bitter experience, my team and most recruiters are overworked, we're under pressure, it's easier to go no. So help us, help you by showing us what you do. Avoid cliches such as an enthusiastic, ambitious communicator with drive, enthusiasm, team player. That doesn't mean anything. I've never met a client yet who doesn't want somebody who isn't enthusiastic. I've never met anybody who hasn't said they're self-motivated. If you get out of bed in the morning and tie up your shoes and make your breakfast and get the kids to school, you are self-motivated. Guess what? So is everybody else. So don't waste those golden nuggets you've got probably 20 to 30 seconds to grab an HR manager or an employer's attention with that opening paragraph. So explain how much experience you've got. So for me, nearly 25 years experience at the front end of recruitment. That would be what I'd be putting in the first sentence. I'd put my relevant qualifications. I put the fact that I've interviewed over 10,000 people. I put the fact that I've actually placed nearly 1,600 people in work and coached over 100 recruiters to be successful in recruitment or start their own businesses. That's what I've done. So if you're in credit control, put first line, with 3 years credit control experience, with 7 years in nursing, with 5 years in management of an FMCG company, with 4 years as a forklift truck driver with qualifications to drive diesel and electric and gas forklift trucks. Put down what you are. You never see a trailer for a movie saying a great film from Hollywood with some really good actors that you're going to enjoy seeing, with an all-star directorship team and great special effects. Is it a love story? Is it a gangster film? Is it a horror flick? What genre is it? We don't know. So think about this. You've got to sell you, and that opening paragraph is crucial. So avoid all of the enthusiastic, self-motivated, great communicator. I don't want to know about that. I want to know what you've done, what you can do for me, what transferable skills have you got. Make sure as much as possible you use objective language, not your opinion, not anybody else's opinion. If you've got a reference where somebody said something about you verbatim, great, you can include that. Again, you see the posters, don't you, for the movies, and it'll be Barry Norman says it's a great film, Jonathan Ross, outstanding, must see. You take other people's opinions. If you've got those, by all means put them in. I think that's a good idea. But make sure you can back it up with the name and telephone number and email if someone wants to check it out. So, when you think about the CV, of course we're going to put the education. I would suggest that if you're my age, nearly 50, you don't go back and put everything you've done. You give an overview. Probably the younger you are, the more relevance it is to put the grades. But people don't know what I got for an A-level when I was 17, 18, 30 years ago. They might not want to go to school when I did O-levels and A-levels and other qualifications, but put things that are relevant to the role that you're actually applying for. So don't put down you've got cycling proficiency badge, because that's not really that important, unless you're applying for a job as a teacher when that is relevant. If you've got health and safety qualifications, or you've got first aid, if you're applying for a management role, I'd put that down. Now, I'd list the specific duties for each role, but probably only about 6 or 7. Don't put a whole list down. Making the tea, ordering the stationery, organising the stationery cupboard, ordering them in, putting them in number order. We're looking for the basic duties, but very important, as if not more important, is put down your achievements. What have you done? How have you impacted that company? Have you driven sales? Have you saved them money? Have you helped them manage through a difficult time? If you've been in catering, have you worked through Christmas when it's incredibly busy? If you're in a production role, have you managed to help them get something out which there's been a deadline, you've all had to work overtime? Employers want to see, what can this person actually do for me? And don't ramble. Again, think if you've got somebody's attention, keep them on the hook, move them on, move them on. And if we've got a few jobs under our belt, put more emphasis upon the most recent jobs and less emphasis as you go back. And if you've had a change of career, explain why. I think reasons for leaving are very, very important. And it's always a difficult one if you get fired or something happens. I would suggest that maybe you don't put that on the CV, but be ready to talk about it over the telephone. Because you know what? People are going to find out. So be upfront about these things. And with regards to interests, please don't put down socialising with my friends. Because you know what? I see it every single day. Going to the pub. People put down they're interested in books. And I sit in front of them and I say, great, because I read a lot. What was the last book you read? Harry Potter. Now I'm thinking they're a real Harry Potter fan. So you've read the whole series? Oh no, I read Harry Potter 5 years ago. I didn't finish it. They put that down as an interest. So please be very, very careful. Think, everybody's got a thing, haven't they? Most people have got an interest. Maybe we don't want to talk about what it is, but you know what? On a CV, put down what you're interested in. If you're interested in folk dancing, if it's knitting, if it's basket weaving, if it's recycling plastic chairs, if you honestly do that, put it down. I would suggest also that if we're involved in sports, that we put that down, because a lot of employers want to know that if you play football, for example, you can get up on a Sunday morning at 8 o'clock and train and play football with a team of guys or girls. If you're involved in netball, if it's anything that's competitive or where you've got to train, maybe it's dance, put that kind of stuff down. People want to know that, but be ready that when you're going to be interviewed to answer some questions. And in terms of your CV, please put your communication information down. I often get CVs with no telephone number, no email address, no physical address. Now, great, it's attached to an email perhaps. But if that CV gets detached from the email, gets passed around the office, we've got a great candidate. How do we communicate with them? So just think about the basics. How do we actually get in touch? Really, really important. And I suggest that you make sure that your mobile phone message hasn't got a load of funky jazzy music and hasn't got, I mean, my daughter had this message on her phone where I listened to about 3 minutes of some jazz funk tune and then she left a silly message. Now, she's 13, it doesn't matter. But if she was in her late teens, early 20s and I'm ringing up to arrange an appointment and I've got to listen to, I don't know, Pussycat Dolls going on for about 3 minutes, it's great fun for her friends, but not for me. By that time, I'm getting annoyed. So, quick message, hi, it's Graham Martin, I can't take your call right now, please leave a message, I'll call you back as soon as I can. In the meantime, if you need to contact me urgently, please ring another telephone number, da da da. Also, email addresses, be very careful. We had one recently, foxylady23@hotmail.com. Oh, mine, but it was for a guy. So just be very, very careful about your email address, okay? It might be great within your friends and your group and your family, but if you're applying for a position, how are you perceived? Because that CV and all the information on there is absolutely crucial. If you're being asked to write a physical CV with an accompanying letter, and some companies still ask for that, and they'll ask for the handwritten font, not actually typed, or use the word processor, please spell check. If you're doing it by hand, get someone to check it over. Use a dictionary, use a thesaurus. Think about this. You get one chance to make a really good impression, and your CV is that chance. So I hope that's given you some information that you can take away and you can use to create a really professional, dramatic, impactful CV. If you want more information, if you want to see more about that, look on the website www.therecruitmentguy.com. Thank you very much.